All right, let's go.
Good afternoon, ballers. Welcome to the 43rd episode of the Stepback.
Chris Humphreys. Trash.
Trash ass net, man. Mr. Kardashian.
Terrible.
Oh, man. Your host, Leon Tompkins, my main man, Jacob Moses, uh, here to you on a Saturday afternoon. We usually come at you Wednesday nights. Unfortunately, some events came up, so I like to push it back to today. But basketball is basketball, and we're here to, kick recap week four. How you
Absolutely.
doing, brother?
I am doing good. It's cold up here. I'm over it. The snow, I'm over it. But other than that, I'm feeling good. Breathing. How you doing down there? Back in the place to be, NYC.
Uh, Cold here. Uh, I'm not leaving my house. I thought I had my lotto ticket. That didn't happen. But all in all, it's pretty good.
Lotto stud.
Um, I'm somewhat glad Kyrie returned to work, but dreams do come true.
Hey man, gotta take it. Came all clean shaven and somewhat, and he looked okay. He wasn't bad. The chemistry though seemed off though between everybody when he came back. I don't want to say nothing, but mm,
Yeah, yeah. It's easy to go that route. Like, oh yeah, you were 2-0 before Kyrie and
hmm
KD and Harden looked real good, and they did. They looked real good. They beat the Bucks, and just Colin Sexton, Jared Allen just took them to school.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
a humbling experience. Sexland got him.
Damn sure did. No loop.
None. Uh, on to Miami tonight. We'll see what happens here, but um, it's a lot of the chemistry issues. The defensive issues is what's really uh, bothering me.
hmm
Jordan playing over 30 minutes a game, it's not going to happen. They're going to have to get that depth going. Um, some better shot selection, but giving up 145 points and 120 to Cleveland Cavaliers, it's just not going to cut it.
Nope, not at all. But what would you like to see on the Nets, and who should they, try to acquire?
You, you know, um, I know Alex Len was around. He was cut by the Raptors, but he's now signed with the Wizards. That was a big who could stretch the floor and provide a
hmm
defensive presence. But now that he's gone, Michael Beasley's still out there. Uh, it's really slim pickings. I'm not a fan of Isaiah Thomas. They've got enough. They have enough guards.
hmm
Maybe Kenneth Reed. I can see. He's a ball of energy, good on the
hmm
defensive boards. But I mean, you see Michael Beasley around with his hair, and he needs. Yeah, he has a soul glow thing going on, and he needs something to do. Maybe they can bring him in because this team defense, they have to do something right.
Yeah, that's when they gave up Allen. That was kind of you gave up your defensive anchor for the most part. Um, like you said, the defense is just not there. You got TLC, not much else. We talked. I thought you heard, but you watch him more than not, and you said he was terrible. So he's out of the equation. Um, yeah, y'all need something because this it ain't working. Buck 45 to the Cavs, and you're giving up 100 points a game.
Yeah,
Nah, it's not going to get you anywhere. I mean, it only can
no,
get you so far.
yeah, it's really the rim protection. They're
hmm
getting in the paint like it's nothing. And DeAndre Jordan is decent at rim protection, but it's the
hmm
rotations that they're bad at. And you know, they gave up 134 points to Cavaliers in
hmm
the past two games in the paint. Uh, I still think this team is better with Jordan coming off the bench and
hmm
utilizing the smaller lineup. Uh, you know, maybe establishing a 5-out system, move Jeff Green over to the five,
Mhm.
KD at the four, and have Joe Harris come in there at the three. Um, I'm gonna preface this a little bit. I'm gonna crossover. We have the championship game tomorrow, Kansas
Mhm.
City and Buffalo. You look at that trio of Mahomes, Hill, and Kelsey.
Mhm.
Teams go into facing Kansas City by denying them the ball. Offense being your best defense. You don't go to playing against Kansas City kicking field goals. Maybe an up-tempo pace, uh, maybe can help them spread the floor and provide floor balance to where they're not always scrambling, looking
Mhm.
for someone to match up with. So maybe moving Jeff Green into the five spot. You can play Jordan against Embiid and Drummond that type
Mhm.
to match up with size, but I think going forward they should really go to a smaller lineup.
Yeah, I think
But
that would do wonders for you guys because Jeff Green has looked really good. He's hit his shots. Play at he's always been since you know Georgetown and then into the league. He's been a pretty good defensive player. His toughness is needed. That was a really underrated pickup for you guys, and let's see where it goes. But yeah, I do agree with you with that small ball lineup. I think that would do you guys wonders, and we'll see where it goes. But talking about the defense, the number one defensive team in the league, your New York Knicks. Yeah, they're looking good. Tibbs has them playing. I mean, they haven't played him hard. I know they're playing a lot of minutes. Between RJ, Randall, and them. But hey, trying to get wins. He said he didn't come there to lose. So, but it's been great to see RJ is stepping it up. He's living up to that billing, and I knew he could. He's hitting his free throws now. He's getting himself to the rim. Just his jumper looks, I won't say smooth. It's getting there. Peyton's trash. Randall is looking like an all star. He almost posting triple doubles, and Mitchell Robinson's making him small improvements. Just has to his awareness has to get better. He has to be able to get up and down the floor without diving on the floor while getting a rebound, blocking a shot, and ending up on the floor out of bounds. And Peyton's trash. And quickly, he is definitely my favorite rookie. I'm not being a homer, but it's my favorite rookie. He's quickly floats it. That's his thing. He gets in with his floater. He, he can stretch the floor. He can find an open team. And he can be a facilitator. I will give him that. Everybody, oh, he's a shooting guard. No, he said he played point guard in high school, and Kentucky you didn't see it, but he's looking like a good facilitator. And Peyton's trash. We got Alec Burks, great vet to have on the team. He can stretch the floor as well. Plays adequate defense. Bullock he's been okay. He's been hit and miss, but he's a good 3-and-D player for the most part. Did I mention Peyton's trash? Yeah, I think I did. Um, Rivers is hurt. Noel's been good. The switch off between him and Mitch are just non-existent. You will get from both of them block shots, good rim protection, and on from there. The only thing I see with this Knicks team, we need the lead guard. This where Chris Paul would have made that difference right there. Off the pick and the PNR. The Knicks don't run a lot of PNR, and if they do, they don't run it right. Sorry about Obi. Obi looks okay, but he doesn't play a lot of minutes. But he looks springy every time he gets on the floor. But yeah, that lead guard is really important because we have no one on the floor that can really facilitate. Besides Randall, RJ, I think if they gave RJ the keys to the offense, they will look a little bit better on offense because he's actually a really good passer and it might work. But we got Peyton trotting out there doing whatever the hell he does in his minus sixes and 12s in the box score. But other than that, hey, I'll take it. Took a hard loss to the Kings, a game they should have won, but between De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Halliburton, he was playing like, of course, you get those games where you didn't draft me. I'm going to make sure I play well against you. And Randall stepped up, RJ stepped up, Mitch stepped up with a double double. Quickly was okay, he had his 9 points, and then Alfred Payton. But we will keep seeing him, keep pissing me off, and we'll go from there. But I can't complain. 8-9, almost 500. build that culture. This is what this season was all about: building a culture with this team. I want to see more of it. I love the toughness. They don't give away games, which a lot of games that they won this year, they would have lost last year, and that right there is an improvement within its own. So I will take it.
Yeah, the Knicks right now in the number 8 spot if the playoffs were to start today. So, you know, the incremental improvement is what you're looking for
Hmm.
from the Knicks. They had a very good week this week, like you said, RJ, Randall, rated the number one defense in the league. They had an ugly game on MLK Day against the Magic. That was one of the
Yeah.
worst games I've ever seen in my life. Neither team barely made it to 90. Uh, they came out with a win.
Hmm.
Now, quickly, do
Yes.
you think he should be in the starting lineup?
Not right now, but down. I'll give him another few weeks, and if Peyton keeps stinking it up, you got to put him in there. Maybe Peyton will be better. In which that's what more he was suited of anyway, more of a backup point guard. He really he's not a lead guy. He'll get you. And you as you've seen in New Orleans when he had his little triple double streak. He wasn't the lead guard. I think he was doing it because Lonzo. No, was it? No, was it, who was out for them?
For
Holiday?
Orlando?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no,
New
no, no,
Orleans?
no. New Orleans was it?
It was Holiday.
Yeah, Holiday was out for a while. He came along and he did his thing, but he's just not a lead guard. But all in all, I won't say start quickly right now. Let him keep getting his reps and doing his thing and getting his feet wet. But I'll say I'll give him another few weeks and quickly needs to be in that lineup. He shoots better. You know, Peyton's he's an aggressive. He'll get to the rack and he'll maybe score, but quickly I like better free throw shooter. I want his free. That's it right there. Don't give points up at the line quickly. RJ's getting better. Randall's decent, and Bullock's a good free throw shooter. So you gotta have those guys on there. But quickly, give him a few weeks. So I'm giving Peyton a little bit more time to stink it up, I guess. But and maybe when Frank comes back, that's another one. Frank, when he comes back, what are we gonna do with him? He's gonna be important because he can guard three positions. And you can't teach his defense. And all he has to do is get aggressive, and you never know. Maybe he can take a spot. He can take the minutes away, and we can kind of rid ourselves of Peyton and DSJ in a deal because Lord knows DSJ is just sitting on the end of the bench, just picking his nose or whatever he's doing. But they look good all in all. But I would love to see quickly start though. I mean, you get this guy. Whoever said, I mean, Kenny Payne probably was a big part of that. But for them to get him where they did, because that never happens to us. I won't even lie. All the bus, I ain't gonna go through the bus right now, but you know,
Yeah,
you live in New York, you know the
yeah,
bus.
yeah.
But
It's a long list of them.
it's a long list of 20 years of misery. But quickly, he seems like his drive, he wants to succeed. And I think he will. He just needs a shot. And going back to Akil, he said, "Don't trade Randall." I don't want to see Randall go, but you're gonna have to put Top in. He's gonna have to start playing more minutes. You picked him eighth for a reason. But just let Randall he keep building his trade value. And he's gonna have to go, but hey, if you can get a nice little deal out of him and another pick in this, as we have two in this upcoming draft, you get a third first. He's worth the first rounder right now, I think. But if you do it, at least get a first rounder. You have three first rounders. The Knicks could be in business coming, next June or whenever the hell they have the draft next year. Well, this year, excuse me.
Right.
But yeah, it's a lot of questions, but it's not bad.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I think
Hey,
Randall
bud.
is in a spot where if they have to build Toppin up,
Uh-huh.
enough to a point where they can put him in a lineup and give him more minutes. Or
Mhm.
what do you make of Kevin Knox?
He's a good corner specialist. He's learned how to shoot a corner three. Um, his defense is adequate. It's not terrible, and also helps when you have a wingspan like you're 6'8". You have a wingspan of it, and you can stay in front of guys. But I want to see more. I want to see him getting to the rack more. Not scared to. He's not scared to shoot when he's open, but if somebody's in your face, you got to be able to rise up and hit a shot against somebody, 6'4", 6'5", or whatever. You got that for a reason. You got that size. But I do want to see more in him. Yes, it's great that he's hitting his threes at a higher clip. but you got to see more. It's a little bit of progression, but what else can he do? He doesn't drive to
Yeah,
the only time I really seen Kevin Knox aggressive was his rookie year. That and summer league, he was getting to the rim. I mean, maybe he was just rambunctious and oh yeah, I got to show the world why I was picked here. You got to keep that up. He's not doing enough to be honest, but I'm glad he's hitting his threes from the corner.
yeah. I mean, and the Knicks are giving you what a little taste of what made them successful in the '90s. Tough defense, hard work, and an
Hmm.
attitude. And to go consecutive games giving up under 100 points, and like you said, the number one defense.
Hmm.
Um, this team is turning a corner. They're starting to turn some heads. Um, More people are watching. If they can, stick around for that playing game,
Hmm.
playing tournament, they're right in the progression where they need to be. This is exactly what the timeline suggested with Tibbs on board. So, I mean, things looking good for the Knicks.
Definitely. See, and I said playing game. I didn't say playoff spot. That'd be the best thing, but I'll take a play-in game right now, and you just never know. I want to see that Nets and no, never mind. I don't want to see that because I don't
No,
want to get ahead.
you don't want
I
you
don't
don't
want.
want
I don't
that.
want that smoke yet. Let's get a point guard, then I want the smoke. No, but yeah, it's a good season. I'll take it. I mean, I'm taking it right now. I'm excited. I'm not talking about championships and blah blah. No, build the culture. That's what I wanted to see. Like what you guys did. I watched it. I ain't gonna say from afar because I watched a good amount of the games. But what Kenny Atkinson grew over there, it turned into playoff appearances. It turned into your big three now, and the Knicks can do that. You know, and we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Knicks fans should be excited. So this week, we celebrated MLK Day. We had 5 games on the schedule. We had some very good games. If you were watching on NBA TV or
Hmm.
TNT, however you were watching, one of them was the Grizzlies and the Suns. Ja Morant, he came back that matchup with him and Booker. They went at it. DeAndre Ayton with the
Hmm.
Grizzlies took the game with a clutch Grayson Allen three. Um, do you Grizzlies Suns? Do you see that potential playoff matchup there? What you make of
I
that?
I definitely do because that was a great game, back and forth. Guys that we talked about last year, like of course John Morant, but the Brandon Clarks. I said, if they get anything out of Grayson Allen, it's good if he can stop tripping people. And he's a good 3-point shooter. He's a very good. Watching him at Duke, he's a good player. It's just his mannerisms. He's just gonna get him snuffed. I mean, yeah, let's be real. You do that in the NBA, somebody like he did it to Trey Young, and Trey Young, I mean, he's like, hey, it's not sweet out here, man. I might jack you in your face, but it was fun. But those two teams going at it, seeing DeAndre Ayton do his thing, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Cameron Johnson, against the Brandon Clarks, Morant, well, Eunice, he's still there. He was playing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he was playing. Grayson Allen, what they got, and they don't even have
Tyus
three.
Jones.
Yep, Tyus Jones, and they don't even have 3J back either. So when he
Yeah.
comes back, it's gonna get even better for them. So then they can really run off that pick and roll because him and Ja had a nice little one working. And remember, you can't run away from the GNA because Jackson can shoot, son of Jaron
Yeah.
Jackson. So, he can stretch the floor. I think he shot maybe a 38% clip when he last time he played.
Mm-hmm.
He was somewhere over there, but you're gonna have to check him. And Memphis is gonna be good. And John Morant is back, man. It was scaring me fantasy wise. Of course, obviously, I don't want to see it happen, but just as a fan, you want to see that guy play because he just balls to the wall. He's just, I got to take Robert Sala's all gas, no brakes kind of thing. But yeah, that's John Morant, man. He's one of the best young point guards in the league, and he is so fun to watch. But that was a really good game, down to the wire, man. Yeah, I definitely want to see that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Suns missed out. Grizzlies had a tough break in the bubble, losing to the Blazers. But
Hmm.
Kyle Anderson and
So
Tyus Jones, Dylan Brooks, the team is loaded with depth. For 3 weeks Morant was out, we set them back, but they're surging. they can compete with the best in the West. Um, and if they're going to be a tough out for anyone who has to play them, they're just going to be jockeying for position out there in that 6 to 8 spot. And the
Hmm.
Suns right now are just rolling along, taking care of
Hmm.
business. Michael Bridges, one of those uh, under the radar most improved player
Yes.
candidates. He dropped 34th spot. He's dunking on people. He improved his range. Really thriving and progressing from the bubble. Now with Chris Paul there, setting him up, and the Suns are just in business.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
they definitely are, man. That's and they all can shoot.
yeah,
That's the fun part. I mean, he said Dylan Brooks is one of my favorite underrated guys because he's just he's overlooked. I mean, he'll drop 15, 20 you a game if he gets his minutes in. And a lot of the Knicks I've seen, it kind of reminds me of that grit and grime Memphis team where they just wore you down to a most part, and where they got their wins, we just without the point guard. Um, but yeah, the Grizzlies, Suns, it's just the West is good. The West is pretty loaded. I think is
yeah,
yeah, youth with the youth movement going on there. It's so great to see.
yeah. It is, and now with KP coming back in Dallas, him and Luca are
Hmm.
gonna try to right the ship there, and Luca's running off triple doubles, and KP's looking like unfortunately looking like KP. So
Anyway,
yeah, we'll get off that.
Pozingi, that man, I missed that commercial. Had me all hyped. But anyway,
Another M another MLK Day game. That was pretty good. The Atlanta
hmm.
Hawks, Minnesota Timberwolves.
Hmm.
Wolves suffered a tough loss without Karl Anthony Towns in there. Russell played well. Beasley played well, but it was Trae Young and John
Facts.
Collins and the Atlanta Hawks show. They're starting to pick things up after their little skirmish about Trae handling the ball too damn much. So um, DeAndre Hunter looked good.
Hmm.
Hawks picked up the win in some pretty. I mean, if there was any city jersey that like I would actually pick up, that Atlanta
That
one, the
okay.
MLK one,
Yes.
that's it.
Yeah, I might. I'm thinking about that one, but yeah, that team is so good, man. Kevin Herter, he almost had a triple double. He almost had a quiet triple double. He had 17, 6, and 8. And Clint Capella, you talk about a big pickup, 23 and 15. Did they extend him or is he still under that last contract or whatever he had?
He's still under the last one.
Okay, so I would keep him around because he's definitely a good one. He anchors that defense as well, and he's efficient.
Yes.
And it showed you, Houston, man, you really you have a problem because you got rid of him, but well, they have more than that. But he's been good. Who else they got over there? Of course, your man John Collins, Trey Young. He did his thing. He almost had a triple double. Um, the bench really didn't show much, but they didn't really need it because Minnesota really doesn't. What the hell do they have? D'Lo did his thing. I'm still mad he didn't come to New York. D'Lo 31-7. Malik Beasley continues to be consistent. They're playing Vanderbilt. He had a small, nice little game. A1, day one, he had
Hmm.
12 and 5, nice dunk, but he was inefficient from the field. Nas Reed, they're still trying to figure out. Okogie came back, so they're still trying to figure out what's going on, what rotations, and that's Ryan Saunders as a young coach. He has to figure out what he can use to win games. Um, but yeah, Cat not being there, it's always going to be tough with him not because he really brings that team together, and it's not looking good, man. I could see Ryan Saunders being one of those guys on the hot seat because that's how the organization usually works. But they're a young team, maybe they'll get it. I will be surprised if they can't really get into one of those playing spots because they're really talented,
Hmm.
and you want to see them do better. But I don't know. Like I said, the West is tough, man. So a lot of teams out there that can put you down quick.
Yeah, the Wolves are like you said are in a downward spiral. It seems to be never ending, and more more than likely, if not this trade deadline, maybe in the off season, Cat might start, pulling that Harden move and you know decide not to show up.
Come on home, Cat. We got you. Come on home. Oh, never mind. Tibbs is the coach. Forget it. Never mind. Forget it.
Uh, another
Um,
MLK Day game that was
mhm.
pretty good. The Nets and the Bucks,
Yes.
the uh, Harden KD duo at work.
Hmm.
It was Harden Giannis part three.
Yes. Oh man, that right there. I said it. That's the ECF right there. I want to see it. I want all of that game because it's man. It was just back and forth. Just Giannis, KD, just Harden. I mean, Joe Harris was hitting threes. I mean, everybody played up to their billing. 2-point win for the Nets, and man, just some of these numbers. Giannis almost had a triple double, 34, 12, and 7. Holiday played a great game, 22, 4, and 6. Middleton, of course, one of the most consistent guys in the league. That's what you want. DiVincenzo didn't do shit. Um, Brooke Lopez, your guy. Mr. Stress the Floor, crazy ass looking. Um, Former Nick Bobby Portis, he poured in a few points there. But looking at the Nets, James Harden, of course, he almost had a triple double, but he did get a double double. DeAndre Jordan with a 12 and 12 game. Joe Harris poured it in. Jeff Green with a solid 14 and 6 game. KD 39 and 6. And Reggie Perry, like who was that? Reggie Perry. That's what I was going to ask you
That,
about.
that's the second round pick they got this year from I think it was Mississippi State.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
you might be right. Okay,
another guy.
that sounds about right. This team it comes down to the bench, man. They have Harris. Oh no, Harris started. See, once you put Harris in the starting lineup, you're selling yourself short on offense because it's not like you have Dinwiddie to actually come off the bench and provide that offensive spark off the bench. So this is when the depth is going to get tested, especially in the playoffs. We know they're going to make the playoffs, but how far can they go? And that might be their roadblock. So let's see what the Nets have. Like I said, you got options out there. You just got to put it together. Let's see, Steve. This is a hell of a predicament for Steve Nash in his first year. I mean, it's all about rotations and all about your personnel. And like you said, if you can't play defense, you got to play a lick of defense. You can't be giving up all these points and expecting to win. I mean, you're gonna outscore, these Knicks teams and they probably the Hawks. And even though they're getting better, but well, I can't say Cleveland because they went to work on you, but you're going to be able to outscore teams until a certain point. In the playoffs, it gets tougher, but they have that advantage of having a Harden, Kyrie, and KD. So sky's the limit for the team.
Agreed. And looking at that game in particular for the against the Bucks,
Hmm.
coming down the stretch, the ball ended up in Middleton's hands most of the time, and for
Yes.
good reason. He ran the pick and roll to death with the mid range shot, but Giannis, I mean, he airballed a three. He took a like three mid range shots and ended up breaking those badly. It all came back again to Giannis' end of game effectiveness. You
Hmm.
know, will he ever cross that hurdle and make the jump from he's an MVP, but you know, someone who you have to respect at the 3 point line or even at the foul line. You know,
Hmm.
once you build a wall against him, it's it becomes pretty simple.
Exactly.
And another takeaway I took from this game was Drew Holiday. His defense on Harden, on Durant, it was the entire game. It was on point,
Hmm.
and they gave up a lot of picks to get him, but he is exactly what they needed as the two-way player who can back you down in the paint as well as extend
Hmm.
to the 3 point line with exceptional defense 1 through 4.
Hmm. Absolutely. The team. I always like Middleton. Like I said, he's a tough player, man. He's somebody that you will. He's living up to his billing of getting paid all that money. And it's nothing. I have nothing bad to say about him. Giannis, he's a perfect number two, but Giannis
Hmm.
has to be that Batman. Your team's not going to be great if Batman can't perform. And this, what was he, 1 for 10 from the line not too long ago? You made
Right.
a comment about that when we talked, obviously off here, but 1 for 10. What are you doing? What is that? You're the guy. Like I said, I don't care what anybody says. Yes, Giannis he's good, but he's not an MVP. I'm sorry. Those two MVPs. No, 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 no. Because he shows it every single time in the playoffs that he cannot carry. He can only carry his team so far. You know, People want to talk about LeBron. LeBron carried his teams. He at least carried them to the finals. A bum Cleveland team to the finals. You know, we seen my MJ do it. Now we've seen Patrick Ewing do it. We've seen Jason Kidd. We've seen him do it. I mean, there's I mean, yeah, he had Kmart, but yes, when Batman needed to be Batman on these teams, they step up. And Giannis, they gave you everything. You got your max contract. You got your help. What are you going to do to get that championship back to bring that championship back to Milwaukee?
Yeah, it's all about that progression for him, making that clutch, taking that clutch step, making proper decisions. But
Mm-hmm.
that matchup, potential Eastern Conference Final matchup, you know, they have to meet again this season. But
Yep,
notes have been taken. Next time we'll see Kyrie with them. We'll see what happens there.
absolutely. And speaking about, all right, we got to get into because I like to get into these guys' comments. But
Hmm.
Akil asked, "What do we think about the whole Shaq and Donovan Mitchell, little transcript going on when he basically got at him saying, what did he say, Leon? I think you know. I just looked at it, but I gotta
Oh,
charge this.
it was well,
The smoke.
I guess so the Jazz, one of the hottest teams in the league. They
Hmm.
now won 7 straight. Mitchell is starting to finally pick up his bubble form and really pick up this play on the season. But I guess Shaq went and asked him. He was like, "Well, yeah, you know, don't take this the wrong way, but kind of paraphrasing here, but we'd like to see you take the next step, and I haven't seen you do it yet, and it's
Hmm.
that." And Mitchell said, "Well, I guess what am I going to say?" He said, "Okay, I guess not." He's been hearing that his entire life, but it also goes back to um, with Shaq, kind of, t- is it constructive criticism or is it
Hmm.
hating and talking about
Uh,
uplifting guys?
hmm.
I
Hmm.
don't know.
Yeah,
What
it's
do you
hard
see
to
in
tell.
that?
I really think Shaq is more constructive criticism because he want to see. You can tell certain guys he takes a liking to, and he wants to see these guys be great. And you're professionals. I mean, even at your regular job, I'm pretty sure we get constructive criticism sometimes. We might not like it, but I see. I like Mitchell's response. Okay, I heard it my whole life, absolutely, and I think it was more constructive criticism on his part. It does come off as hating, but sometimes you can think Shaq can talk. Some guys can talk, and I would want somebody just like he kind of did it with Christian Wood when he's like, "Hey, I never really heard of you," and he's like, "You heard of me now, right?" And then so he's putting these fire under these guys, and I like seeing that. And some people might think of it as hating, some of it, you know, I don't know. I don't talk to Shaq personally, so it would be nice to see him like clarify like what were you trying to do. But I think it was more constructive because even when he said it, he's like, okay, I've been doing it my whole life. I'm gonna just keep on working. He's like, yeah, that's what I wanted to hear, and there's nothing wrong with it. We know what
Okay.
D. Mitchell can do.
Yeah, well, we've definitely seen what Mitchell can do, but I also think so. This also goes back to what Harden was saying, where Shaq had some criticism of Harden and
Hmm.
how he dealt with that entire Houston fiasco.
Hmm.
So Harden came back and said, "Well, you know, you don't uplift people.
Hmm.
You just really not really you use your social media platform to do the opposite. You're putting guys down."
Hmm.
And to a certain extent, I agree with Harden. I think you're right. Shaq does kind of cherry pick who he uh, uh, chooses to be chummy with, even with Gobert.
Hmm.
know, that was that constructive criticism? You're in a man's pockets. How he gets his money,
Hmm.
that's on
Yeah,
him.
that was completely that. That was out of whack. I think he was just mad because he never really got a contract like that in his career. That's what it comes off as. But you can't. We all know, Gobert. He's not, Shaq. Nobody's gonna be Shaq. Shaq was one of the most dominant guys in the league. It was nobody's gonna play like you, and the money is different now. And would you do the same thing? You would probably go for you. You would take your money too. He's not going to say no to 200 mil. He's done a lot for Utah, so you can't really hate on him for that one. That one I didn't like. Mitchell wasn't too bad because I think he likes him so. But Shaq does come off as a hater sometimes, and I mean, what can you do? He's not so much you can really say about him to a point of sometimes he hates, sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't like it coming off as you're uplifting someone by
Hmm.
tearing them down.
Hmm.
If you're gonna uplift them,
Keep it
you
there, yeah.
know, yeah, it just comes off disingenuous.
No, absolutely. But on the flip side of that, James Harden should be talking because of how basically how he got to the position he was in now. Like you want to talk about lifting, but you were the same guy, getting yourself out of shape or whatever the hell you were doing just because you didn't want to be in Houston. So I get it from Shaq's point. It was a little bit, yeah, chill. But James Harden got to check himself too because, dude, you forced yourself to where you were. It wasn't. You just made it bad. Just request a trade and do what you got to do. You basically alienated everybody. They did basically brought in John Wall for you. Yes, he was hurt, but he's still John Wall. They brought in Cousins, and then they just like, what the hell just happened? I mean, sometimes you bring that narrative on yourself.
Hmm.
It's sometimes it's warranted. Sometimes it goes a little bit too far, but on Harden's part, yeah, you kind of put that on yourself a little bit. But I'm all for the uplifting, though. You definitely got to uplift, especially in the NBA, especially at the time we need to uplift each other. You need to do that. But yeah, on his game, and can't deny Harden's game, but how he went about that whole Houston situation, I have my reserves on that one. I'm not a big
Yeah,
fan of just forcing your way out and kind of making yourself look like a jackass on the way out.
I think like so KD and LeBron response to
Yes.
Barkley and Shaq. I think they're also kind of spot on. These
Hmm.
the older players really take this new generation to task.
Yes.
Some of it fair, most of it unfairly. Um, but KD's right. These guys have coaches. The game is not the same as it was 20 years
That's
ago.
true.
The game is more spread out.
Hmm.
Nobody's clogging the paint. So yeah, a lot of records are going to be broken. You're going to have more triple doubles. Look at Luca. Look at Harden.
Hmm.
It's just the way the offense flows. But
Hmm.
to come out and criticize the way these guys play and make their money just because at your time it didn't work out. I mean, Barkley was a hell of a player. Shaq, they're both players in their own right, but it's not fair to where you know the, the game has passed them by. I just don't like that they criticize how they get their money.
I agree. I agree. 'Cause like I said, if it was back in the day and you had the chance to do it, you would absolutely do the same thing. And if he say I wouldn't do it that way, he's a liar. I don't care what anybody says. And it goes back to like the MJ and LeBron debate. Everybody's like, "Oh, he's done it," but you can't deny. It's like you try to take away from what the guy has done. You can't take away anything LeBron's done. Yes, Jordan of our generation. Yes, Jordan's probably the best player we've seen. But no matter how great of a player you are, is going to be somebody that eclipses your numbers. Always happens. I don't care what sport. Henry Aaron, I wasn't born then. RIP to him. You know, who would have thought? Yes, it was Roy. I mean, let's be real. It was helped, but who would have thought Barry would have did that? I mean, it happens. And but yeah, but don't like you said, don't when they start making their money and they don't start knocking it. I understand if they force their way and then you get you like force their way to places, and you might not like it.
Yeah.
You give your opinion, but when they start, oh, you shouldn't have got that contract. You don't know the work these guys. I mean, you know the matter of fact, you know the work these guys put in because you've been in the situation. You've been in that same gym these guys have been in. You had to go through high school and college and make it up to where they are now. So just calm down.
I mean, Shaq caught flack for coming out of shape from Kobe. So I mean, and he walks around with the ring like bruh, calm down, man. And another one I wanted to bring up,
Yeah.
Karl Malone talking about that Zion Williamson should be playing 40 minutes a night because he's 22 years old. Karl Malone,
Mm,
well, you already know my feelings on Malone, but one, nobody's playing 40 minutes a
yep.
night. These back-to-back games. Do you
Nope.
see the 72 game condensed schedule?
Hmm.
It's not happening. They need him for the long haul. There's too much money involved. Yo, Malone needs to stop.
I agree. I definitely agree on that one. He's
The
another one
older
that's always talking.
generation, yeah, the older generation of players, eh, for the most part, really haven't been endearing to the younger ones. Kobe was really the last one who to do it, and you look at the crop of players who's here now with the Tatum's and the Trey Youngs. So
Hmm.
it's just it somewhat bothers me.
But yeah, but you get a lot of players that just get in their feelings because they weren't in the positions these guys are in now. I believe in. I mean, that's how it goes, man. Haters gonna hate, right? As they always
Yeah,
say.
but I mean, it always happens. But I mean, that's not the spirit. Well, it wasn't the spirit of MLK Day. I mean, the dream and of course everybody being equal, but it's also the spirit of uplifting your brother and
Hmm.
wanting better for your people. And you know, constructive criticism is fine, but it, in the climate we're in today, it's just a bad look.
Very much a bad look. Definitely.
Uh, yeah. So trade deadline, I believe, is in March.
Hmm.
Um, we've had Harden be traded. Levert, shout out to him, who we didn't even know he uh, had a mass on his kidney, so trade saved his life.
For real.
Um, do you see any players who could possibly be on the move?
Bradley Bill, of course. That's gonna be the number one target. Um, I think was 60 days before players can get traded. Oladipo might, he might go again because I'm hearing he's not happy in Houston, which I don't blame him. I mean, you go from an organization like the Pacers now, winning organization, then you go to the Rockets, freaking mess. You're like, what the hell am I supposed to do now? Um, Julius Randle, that you got Obi in the wings. I know a lot of people, Kill said don't trade Randle, but you got to think of the future wise. What are the assets you can gain from Randle playing at his highest level? Sometimes you just got to let those guys go and hopefully get a good return on them. Um, and maybe Alfred Payton if and DSJ on the next front. Maybe somebody will take a flyer on him.
Hmm.
I don't know because they don't really. I think Alfred Payton he will be a good backup, so he holds some kind of value. But DSJ he's more of a throw in at this point because you don't know what the hell you can get from him. And I don't know, it's not really that many players I can really see now. There's no really after the Harden domino effect. That's pretty much it. Um, maybe Kevin Love. I mean, he
Yeah,
goes
I don't.
to. I mean, if
Yeah,
who's gonna take on that contract? I don't know. It's just now you just throw names out there and maybe that can happen, but I don't think anybody's taking on that contract. I know I wouldn't.
do you think Lonzo Ball would be a good candidate for the Knicks?
Absolutely. I've liked that kid since he saw him play a lot at UCLA. He's a pure point guard. I mean, he's not the greatest shooter, but I'm pretty sure he's a better shooter than Peyton. Better defensively right now,
Hmm.
and he fits the scheme of what Thibodeau does. Um, he can see the floor really well. The PNR, his PNR game is he runs it great. It's health about him because he's starting to make me nervous with all these nagging injuries that he has. That's
Hmm.
the number one thing. But yeah, if you gave up pretty much, I wouldn't trade Randall for him, but unless picks are involved for us. But I would love to see Lonzo in New York.
Yeah, I think Lonzo will be a prime Nick candidate with the ability to extend him later on because he's a restricted free agent
Hmm.
at the end of the season. So if you get him like mid-season and Tibbs going to run him into the ground, but it'll be an absolute upgrade at what you have.
Hmm.
Uh, Someone in the comments, I can't see who it is, but another name it was I had Andre Drummond. Now with Jared Allen in Cleveland, Drummond's role is going to be phased out a bit. He's making 28 million this year, free agent at the end of the year. I could see someone maybe like Dallas
Hmm.
or maybe Boston would come in and take a run at Drummond. Led the league in rebounding past few years. You know what he's going to get out of him. Um,
Hmm.
Good big man from UConn. Drummond is another prime trade candidate. Um,
Yes. Dallas would be a nice spot for him, but who would you give up? See that I don't know. They might want a good amount for him, but yeah, Dallas would be a nice spot to put. Put him back. Put him at the five. Put KP at his natural position because he's not a center. Sorry.
mhm.
And then you got Luca doing his thing, but that would be a nice spot. But I'm trying to see. I'm trying to think of who else.
Maybe like Kyle Lowry or
I
uh,
saw something about
Aaron
Larry.
Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, I think it's his time in Orlando's over. Actually, they really gotta do something with him. Maybe Zach Levine. I mean, I don't think the Bulls should trade him because he's turned himself into an all-star in 2 years. I mean, he's just improved for that team, and it would be crazy to trade him. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be too much out there. Maybe we'll see some small trades, and
I think Chicago is in a weird spot where they are kind of like in contention for the playoffs, but they have so many question marks as far as their rosters for the future.
hmm
So you mentioned Levine. I mean, like you said, improved to all-star levels. Um, I think Markkinen or Wendell Carter Jr. might be also on that list. But
hmm
if they happen to trade Levine for maybe to the Lakers or uh, someone who's looking
ooh,
for that third option, and they can get a haul of some picks or some young talent back and reset and start Patrick Williams there, or do they just keep Levine and extend him and make this playoff run?
yeah.
Um, I think Chicago's in a weird spot.
Oh, absolutely. But I would keep him around. He's too good just to let go of, and you probably won't get the same value back for him. Marketing, I can see marketing would make more sense because like you said, they have Carter and they got Williams, so he's expendable. And you know, in their scheme, from what I'm seeing, Carter is pretty much a better fit for him. But yeah, I can see I would take marketing in a hot second. I think that kid has a limited potential, man, that he hasn't even touched yet. And
Yeah.
I don't know, they definitely in that spot. Like they got the point guard in White, then they got Levine, then Williams is a three, then you got Carter, and then center. I don't know. They got to figure that out. I don't think Wendell Carter's I don't really look at him as a center. I mean, yeah, just because you're tall doesn't mean you're a center. I'm sorry. Especially this day and age, I I don't know. I don't think he has the body for it.
Now, another sneaky trade candidate, John Collins. Now, Atlanta. They're like a Jekyll and Hyde team.
Hmm.
I still think they're right in the mix for the playoffs, but he's also a restricted free agent at the end of the year. And they drafted Okongwu as well as having Capella in the mix for next year.
Hmm.
So Collins might be a guy who, um, if they can get some value back for him, they might look to move.
Hmm. I can see that. Also, you know who else I was just thinking of? Kimball Walker. I I mean, he doesn't look right in that team. I don't know what it is, but since the bubble, he has not looked right. He just doesn't. I don't know. It's because he's not the guy. Because sometimes he seems like he has that alpha male mentality. Like he wants to be the guy. He wants that whole. But he should have. If that was the case, you could have done it in New York. You definitely would have been the guy. All eyes on you. But how Brad Stevens runs his team. It's not all about coming down the court and how he plays. He's more of an ISO player. And Boston has Tatum and Brown, which you can't really do that. And that's another reason Hayward didn't work. And he played within the office, but if anything, and I think that was more his injuries too, that they traded Hayward and they just wanted to get up out of that contract. But
Hmm.
if you watch the Knicks game, Kimball was just, I mean, yeah, he looked rusty, but maybe he's not right for this team. I could be wrong, but I don't, he might. It's possible.
So you think he'll might suffer the same fate as Kyrie, but just quietly?
Yeah, I can see it happening. I can really see it happening because it got to be something where, Kyrie, even his numbers took a hit as well. Same thing. You're so used to being a man somewhere, it can affect you.
Yeah, and when Kyrie was there, Tatum and Brown weren't what they are now. So
Hmm.
I mean, and they have some pieces in place at point guard and Smart and Pritchard and uh, uh, Jeff Jeff Teague is there.
Yeah,
So
there you go. Hmm.
they're able to weather the storm if they were to acquire a big man um, for Kemba. But I find that it's definitely possible. I find it hard to believe that they'll break
Yeah,
that up so
yeah,
soon,
yeah. I
considering
can't see it.
at max deal. But
Yeah,
it's definitely a good one.
yeah. I mean, you got two other guys like maybe Lamarcus Aldridge or DeMar DeRozan, but I wouldn't like it. I'll say Aldridge more than DeRozan because DeRozan really brings that team together with his
Hmm.
playmaking this year and his leadership. So I can more see LMA going. But the Spurs is another team, and they just have a nice young core of guys: Keldon Johnson, Derek White, Lonnie Walker fourth.
Yeah.
Um, what's the other guy's name? Deontay Murray.
Yep.
Um,
I mean,
even Podol. Yep, there you go.
total, total. That oh my man is well. He'll be back in a moment, but I think his video gave out. But yeah, I definitely agree with him as far as um, Jacob Podol, and which actually brings me to some fantasy players who might be available for pickup. With KP returning, Okongwu returning, Jacob Podol is a guy who you can look at on your waiver wire, provide you some points and some rebounds. That's definitely a guy I look at. Now with McCollum injured and Yusuf Nurkic out for 8 weeks, another guy definitely in there. Jeff Green is available. Avika Zubac, definitely another some more guys you can look at. Um, but this is definitely an interesting week in the NBA. I'd like to see the Nets play some damn defense, but good luck with that. Again, so tomorrow afternoon, you guys, before the football, the Chiefs and the Bills and the Packers game tomorrow, you can catch Total Business Podcast with Felipe Malicio and Sean Connor Flannery over in Baseball Life. Monday night, Dong City with Henry Maldonado Jr. and Vince Mercandetti. We'll cover the sad passing of Henry Aaron Jr. Catch him Monday night, 7 p.m. For in Baseball Life. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. The Audible with Randy Hammond and Matt Bushnell, covering the games from the Sunday, possibly cover the Super Bowl. It'll be a big show then. And we'll be right back here with you on Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, and recap week 5 of the NBA. And, keep that going. I think my man came back.
There we go. I'm in the building.
Hey, how you doing, bro?
I'm good. My laptop seriously just died. I knew it was coming, so I apologize about. I'm trying to get my computer back up and running. So where we at?
Oh no, I was reminding the guys how they can catch the other shows on the network, but as well as covering the injuries in the league with Kongwu and Nurkic and McCollum out. Miles Turner just came back. Maybe any guys you were looking at for the week, or guys who might be on your radar?
Yes, I did actually. You got Nickeil Alexander Walker.
Mm-hmm.
With Alonzo Ball having knee issues, he had a nice game. He went off for 37 against the Clippers one night. So, potential is there.
Mm-hmm.
Willie Cauley-Stein, he stepped up. Actually, he's been shooting 68%, 78 at the line. It's only 8 points a game, 9 rebounds. But hey, that's solid for him and for that Dallas team. Because their side, they have really no size, besides KP and the other dude they have. I can't even think of it at the moment. But, Pat Williams, he's another one that I've seen still available. He's a 3-level scorer that can, get you some nice value, all-around numbers. One of my other favorites, I'm hoping this guy catches on, Gary Harris. He can still hit you, get you some threes. His usage is low, but he's averaging 30 minutes a game, so hopefully his shoot for that, talented OKC team. You'll be hearing their name a lot, especially in the draft. They got like 30 picks. Every other pick is going to be OKC. So yeah, it's definitely those are my fantasy guys that I've seen. Maybe Tyrese Halliburton, because from what I've seen, I was kind of high on him coming, into the draft, but Obi fell to us. So hey, you got to go with the BPA sometimes.
You have to. So that's definitely some good pickups. Jeremy Lamb just came back from Indiana last week, so he's available if you're out there. So who was your star of the week?
Our Stepback player of the week.
Yep.
Man, I gotta go with. You know what time it is? Damian Lillard. He averaged 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists throughout the week. 3-1 record. I'm gonna go with him. It was tough between him and Easy Money Sniper. If you don't know who that is, that's KD. Because obviously he led him to a 3-0 record. But I would say Dame, because I like Dame and he was balling it out. So I definitely got to go with Dame.
That's a good pick. I like Zach LaVine this past week. He balled out like you said as well. De'Aaron Fox had a nice 43 and 13 line this week. But Damian Lillard was a man.
What time
we also had a newborn. Also had a newborn this week, so you can call him Daddy Dame.
I like that. That is true. They have just one, or they have triplets? No, the picture
I thought it was 2, but I mean I could be wrong.
I thought it was like 3. I'm like, damn, man. You definitely know what time it was over there. But no, that's awesome for him. All around great guy. Even though he's talking that smoke about the Knicks, he's on the Joe Budden podcast. Well, it's gonna die down. Listen, we don't want to see that, Dean. Love you and all. You my guy. Chill, man. So I go there. Tips to get that defense on you. He had Curry looking like nothing to that second half. But yeah, he actually struggled though. They played really good defense on him, and it was interesting to see. I was shocked, to be honest. But yeah, that's a lot of players out there. Oh yeah, hold on. Let me get. I think I'm back into my laptop now, so I can get to where I need to be, so I can see these highlights my man cooked up. Speaking of
Yeah,
chef,
man.
all right, I'm back in. Starting yet? We are sorry that we're having these freaking issues. Well, I can't jump in here. We got. I always like those Memphis jerseys. Always wanted one. Especially
Yeah,
like the 97,
the
98 season.
yeah, the Vancouver days, but John Moran
Yeah.
showing the bounce off that ankle injury.
Yes, sir. Look at that.
Ooh, Luka to KP, Alley to the oop.
Yeah, that's that European connection. And I mean, Luca got to be happy to have him back because they've been struggling without him. Luca, he can only do so much, and plus, I think he's playing on like a bum ankle or something because he hasn't been, you know, Luca. Showing that Luca, he's
Right.
showing that Luca magic, but he's hobbled. But yeah, he's throwing it down. Who's
But
that lefty?
I gotta see this again.
Yeah, yeah,
Zion Williamson, that was Jesus Christ.
yeah. He didn't know what to do with himself. He's like, well, he's like, yeah, should I try to block him? But yeah, he's another guy that you don't ever get in the way of when he's dunking the ball, man. You need to just stop. Don't do it to yourself. It just doesn't work. It ain't for you. You ain't stopping Zion.
PG-13 again. Put the kids to bed, split the defense, and just put my man on a poster.
Oh, you think it's sweet out here? See, he always be talking. That's the PG we want to see. We don't want to hear you talking and being way off P. We want to see you. I mean, slash the pandemic P and just be PG again, man. That's what we want to see from you.
Exactly. Here we go with DeAndre Hunter in the MLK jerseys, just
Love him.
with the slam, man. He's been looking good this season. They had a special on the making and the meaning of these jerseys, which is definitely pretty cool.
Yes, I agree. All right.
Now, he's your man right here. Alfred.
Damn right. You damn right. Catching bodies. Go ahead, Alfred. You trash, but you catching bodies. But you on the show. Yes, sir. Look at him. Nice little crossover move. Yeah. Go ahead, Alfred. I think that was like his only 2 points of the game now. Okay. He had more. You
Here we
see?
go. The Knicks Celtics game, and the Knicks blew out the Celtics by 30. Obi
And
Toppin showing the spring.
See that pick and roll? Yeah. You can get stomped by Obi. He's a bouncy kind of guy. That's Amari right there. I think that's Amari 2.0. Just save us the knee problems, all right?
Lonzo 2. Miles Bridges. Oh,
Yeah.
the two-handed cock back here was. I gotta see this again. Ooh, I mean, the ball went behind his head.
That's what you want to see in these kind of.
Yeah, man. That was just. Ooh.
Here we go. Here we go. Give me that ball. See?
Man.
Let's slow it down for the people in the back. Like, I mean, Zion he just got a certain bounce about him that there's nothing you can do about it once he gets in the air, man.
Yeah, it's definitely
Look at
special.
that.
And
He got popped in the head.
Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish here catching the body as
Killing.
well, in the red Atlanta uniforms.
Those are sweet
Derek
too.
Favors made a business decision at this one. Oh, I am not on a poster today.
Yeah, see, that was smart. That's what you got to do. Get the hell out of the way. If you see somebody already up there, just I'd rather be looking up, at something that's going to be a poster rather than being in that poster. That's man.
Yeah, but that was catching the body. Uh, you can catch those
Of the week.
highlights over on our YouTube channel, Life Group Podcast.
Mhm.
If you are listening to audio platform only, subscribe to the Life Group Podcast Network on the YouTube channel. Catch the visuals of the jams of the week. But we're getting pretty close to the end. But I also want to bring up something else. Aja Wilson um,
Yes.
had a statue over at the University of South Carolina. Well documented career in the WNBA, plays for the Aces, MVP of the season, led South Carolina to a national championship,
Hmm.
well deserved statue, and a powerful speech. What do you make of it?
Exactly. I
Uh,
think she.
yeah,
Oh, it was great,
saying
man.
more like her grandmother wasn't able to walk in the campus; she had to walk around the campus. But now, she's able to look at something that her university has her granddaughter on the grounds as a statue. So I mean, that's just powerful.
Absolutely. Um, that's what progression. That's what we all want to see. As African Americans, we want to see that progression, and you can't deny the we have. Because a lot of us come from different backgrounds. A lot of stuff in family history that I didn't even know about. I had Tuskegee Airmen in my family, didn't know about. You know, and it's just something like that where it was just that's not a long time ago. It was a long time ago, really, but when you look into it, it wasn't. The '60s wasn't that long ago, where you still had this going on, and you know we couldn't walk in certain places. Like she said, you had to walk around it. But now, putting that on those grounds in South Carolina, one of the most segregated places, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, and it shows you how far as a country we've come. Still got work to do, but you love seeing stuff like that. People. I've always said, people don't know a lot about our history. You have a lot of questions, but there's a lot of places you can go. You can go on YouTube. You can, just watch. I mean, you can watch, read about it. There's so many avenues that you can go to do it. For Aja Wilson, it's just that's a whole bunch of confidence. MVP. It would have been nice for her to get a chip, but I'm pretty sure she'll get there. But just the meaning of it was more than that. This is another case of more than basketball, and she deserves it, man. She definitely deserves it, and props to her. Props to her family too, because I'm pretty sure they're proud.
Absolutely, to have a statue of a female basketball player as well as an African American in that setting, it's monumental on two fronts. It's well deserved, and as far as what we're going with, everybody gets a statues being torn down. You look at what she's done. She's put in the hard work, and at 24 to be able to do that is quite outstanding.
Hmm.
And one more thing, I guess I want to bring up. Um, Anybody's been tracking the story of Delonte West. He now has a job in the therapy center where he's been rehabbing. So um, Mark Cuban's been tracking his progression. It's a good story. Nice to see someone get back on their feet. As everybody knows, the Delonte West story has been a rough one. To watch Mark Cuban go out of his way and take the time out and make sure he's okay. And so far, it's looking pretty good. I just like to
Yeah,
see, positive stories like that.
oh, for sure.
Shout
And
out to
yeah, it's just
yeah.
he's going through so much. And a lot of owners won't do that. A lot of owners will just wash their hands of players after they're finished playing, playing for their team. It's just like, hey, we gave you we employed you all these years, but you never know the troubles of what they're going through, and some of them you just reach out and you need help. Same thing with Kyrie. Like I get on him, but you really don't know what's going through his head. Maybe it's a cry for, I don't know if it's a cry for help, but you never know what's going on. But also with him, buying a house for George Floyd's family, I definitely want to give him a shout out
Mhm.
for that one. But I give him that. He does do his thing when it comes to social justice and looking out for others. He does it, but he does it in his own way. I mean,
Yeah, definitely misunderstood a lot. I wish sometimes he would do things better as far as communicating with the media his thoughts, but you know,
mhm,
you can't deny the actions, you can't deny the intentions, and you got to I give credit where credit's due. So,
for sure.
and like the theme of MLK Day and was soon to be Black History Month, it's all about uplifting your brother, and I do the same for you. Want to uplift you as well. Um, so, just want to
Absolutely,
end this one here on a positive note.
absolutely. That's what brothers do. Anytime you need me, I'll be there for you, friends. Yeah. Shut up, Leon. That was a hot show. Nah, but seriously though, I like anytime my brothers need me. Like I always say, I'm our brother's keeper. I'm a big advocate of that. I will continue to do so until I'm no longer here anymore. Hopefully, it's nowhere soon. But
Facts.
it's definitely that's what we do, man. Uplift each other, black, white, doesn't matter. Always gotta uplift your brothers and sisters. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Um, I think this has been pretty good here, and um, like I said before, you guys can catch Total Bases podcast Sunday mornings with Felipe Malicio, Sean Connor Flannery, with Baseball Life, 11 a.m. Eastern Time before your football Sunday. Let's go Bills.
Nah,
Um,
mm, nah.
Monday night, Dong City, Vince Mercandetti, Henry Maldonado Jr. covering the uh, pretty soon spring training's coming up in a month.
Hmm.
George Springer's been signed. The Bauer sweepstakes still out there. Um, more donks to be talked about. Jared Porter.
Damn. Ah, horrible.
Those,
Ah,
those guys will cover that. Tuesday night, 7 p.m. The Audible, recapping the Sunday night games,
mhm.
covering Super Bowl weekend. Those guys do an awesome job. Wednesday night, we'll be right back here in our regular schedule spot.
Yes, sir.
Uh, and Thursday night, Work Shoot Wrestling Podcast with Corey Richmond, Jason Brooks. Uh, Browns been eliminated. Packers still out there. Hopefully, Jason can join them on the couch. But again, Royal Rumble coming up. Those guys do an awesome job over there. They'll cover the wrestling aspect of things.
Yes.
And you can catch us again Wednesday night here, Lowest Life Group on Facebook, YouTube channel by subscribing to the Life Group Podcast Network, and again, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, however you receive your audio podcast, we're right there too.
Listen.
Listen, any words, putting words for audience, Jake?
Uh, thank everyone for tuning in. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I mean, you'll live. You'll get over it. No, no, but thank everybody that listening, guys, for your comments. Sorry, I wasn't into it. I was trying to get through so much stuff, but you guys always do a great job. If you listen and join it now, do it later. We always appreciate it. Other podcasts, guys, keep doing it. Keep doing your things. We're doing great things here. Life group difference. You know what it is. Um, on a football note, Deshaun Watson prefers the Jets. Get that done. Um, get it done. That's it right there. He gave you the opening. Now you just got to close it. But it's always good coming in, talking basketball, trying to give these people some basketball news and knowledge of what we know. And that's about it, man.
Hey, always good stuff, brother.
Yes, sir.
Um, so until next time, we'll see episode 44. Ball out, everybody.
All